Hi, everybody. So yeah, got my computer back. I'm so happy. It had to go through some Windows 10 changes, and I don't want to deal with the command prompts, so I paid somebody else to deal with the command prompts. And yeah, so sometimes these systems that are out there have glitches, and then you have to find someone that, I mean, I'm sure if I went to the internet and looked on YouTube, which I did, and then look up how to implement those command prompts to then override the glitches, then I probably could have figured out myself, but I'm not going to go and mess with the DOS side of my computer. So I know when I'm out of my element. Not that I can't learn it, but I really just didn't want to learn it. And so I'm willing to go and help somebody else show how much they know about a specific area. And that's really what it comes down to is when we can appeal to an authority on the matter and still be okay and live symbiotically with all the people in the world. And sometimes you just have to appeal to somebody that has better skills than you do. Okay. And so if somebody looks pretty healthy, for the most part, if somebody knows and has proven that their expertise in an area, you just let go of all disbelief and just, pay them or listen to what they have to say. So in my last transmission, I was using my phone, and it's like the phone can glitch sometimes. And I'm not to say that this can't glitch either, because if there's stuff running in the background, then, and I got stuff running in the background right now that I'm trying to take off my computer. But whatever, we'll see what happens. But I wanted to just really talk about how geopolitics, like just why it is that we have this New World Order type of thing. I mean, I'm looking at what George Bush said a long time ago, that people have characterized as something evil. And I really think, good morning, Lynn, I really think that it really wasn't evil at all. I think people have mischaracterized some of the speeches our past presidents have made and then created something that it wasn't. And I'm thinking about like the Georgia Guidestones, and I'm thinking about one of the tenets of the Georgia Guidestones, where we live in perpetual balance with Mother Earth. And it's not like we're forcing anybody to eat healthy or get their body well balanced. For the most part, in Western society, if you're not under extreme regime rule like in North Korea, you have the choice and the freedom, for the most part, to do whatever the hell you want to your body. You have the choice and the freedom to take in all of the antibiotics and the detoxes and all the different trendy fads, or take part in all the politics. And no one's really going to go into your house and tell you what you should eat and what you should drink, and on a daily basis or a minutely basis. So it's going to be a choice in the matter. Okay. Mother Nature has created infinite fractals of either two choices in life or death. Okay. Two choices in life. And then we have the ability, as far as humans, the ability to reason, the ability to look at what happened in the past, the ability to go and experiment, create a language, create a common ground, to then do experiments to see what would create life on a continuous basis and what would create death on a continuous basis. And then what kind of behaviors manifest from a death trajectory as opposed to a life trajectory. And then understand them and how they manifest in all types of contexts, whether it's in geopolitics, politics, or the human body and cancer, disease, chronic illness, and health and wellness. And so Mother Nature doesn't discriminate. Everybody is following the two types of laws of Mother Nature: death trajectory or life trajectory. Okay? Death trajectory or life trajectory. And so when they talk about the New World Order, they're talking about unifying all systems, unifying all cultures, all countries, all religions and belief systems with a common purpose of life. Because if it was a common purpose for death, we'd all be dead, because it's not very difficult to figure out how to kill somebody. Okay? I mean, come on, we have it pretty much nailed down, how to cause somebody's death. But that's not the point of the New World Order, is to cause everybody to die. Okay? There is the point between the beginning of your life, if you're on a death trajectory, and the end of your life on a death trajectory. And you have every ample room and time to figure out how to stay alive between the beginning of your life when you're born till then, if you have a belief system that you should die, till the end of your life. But what would happen if somebody who was born in our society or in other societies out there figured out how to keep living? They don't have to go on that death trajectory. What would happen? Well, what would happen is that they would take themselves out of the rat race, the division, the politics, all of the crazy drama that you see that goes on all over the internet. And they would just say, you know what? They're going to watch the 500, or not even that, what is it? Was the Georgia Guidestone saying that, 500 million people on this earth, and then the rest out of 7 billion, whatever that is, what is 6 billion, 500 million, if there's 7 billion, we're going to watch the 6 billion, 500 million people dramatize themselves until they die, or harness the wrong elements until they pass away, or play to all the politics until they pass away. But the people that have figured out how to prolong their life to where it's basically indefinite, if they can live symbiotically within a relatively stable atmosphere, they'll be able to just step aside and watch all you guys basically claw each other's eyes out. So those of you that are in the politics and all the different health and wellness, fads and gurus and chasing after the almighty dollar, which is fine because you have to take care of your bills. Those of you who are doing that, okay, it's like you're basically on your way to the death trajectory because you have not reconciled the fact that you have major imbalances. If you're aging and you're dealing with cancer, disease, and chronic illness, you're reconciling the fact that you're basically going to die. That's your outcome. That's your outlook. And there's still that mentality out there that, oh yeah, everyone should die. Everyone, at some point, no one really should live. They go on to the next thing. And that's a whole belief system of religion and spirituality and all that stuff. And I've characterized that spirituality is how your biochemistry, your hormones manifest based upon what you're feeding your body and the state that your internal system is. So if you have imbalances in your body, you're going to end up someone who is so extreme to the left or so extreme to the right that you're going to teeter on those imbalances until you pass away. And then you'll justify it. Oh yeah, I'm justified because, they're violating the Constitution, or they're taking away our gun rights, or they're trying to poison us with magnesium. I see all the different justifications of why you have to then promote your imbalances onto everybody else. But whatever. Okay? The whole thing with J Juice is to understand that we don't have to die. We don't have to keep reproducing on a continuous, infinite level to where then we eat up all the resources on this earth. We can live in perpetual balance with our environment if it's relatively stable. And so the whole point of the New World Order is to get everybody on board to go towards a life in order, life trajectory. That means Russia, that means North Korea, that means Iran, Iraq, that means every other country that thinks that the US or London is horrible. No, we're trying to figure out how to keep a balance and deal with people who want to be imbalanced, that want to fight for their rights because they think that they're being, stepped on all over. If you didn't exhibit imbalanced characteristics, the government wouldn't be breathing down your throat. Once I got off my activist train, guess what? I'm not in Facebook jail anymore. I'm not reacting to all the trolls. I'm not dealing with stupidity out there. I'm just taking care of the things that concern me. My well-balanced internal system, making sure that we have money and food on the table and my husband's okay, and then you guys are doing the protocol, are feeling supported, and you have access to some of the info and you have access to get the info. I don't care what happened with the whole thing with Jeffrey Epstein. I really don't care. It's interesting to see how it's unfolding, and then what our media and our government is doing to make sure this doesn't totally explode in your face and then cause even more division and even more uncertainty and even more chaos. But I really don't care what other people do. And now if I see it and I see something that isn't kosher, that's illegal in my immediate area, yes, I'm going to call somebody, because I'm not, going to allow crimes being committed in front of me. And if I see somebody is in danger, I'm going to help them out if it's right in front of me. But I'm not going to worry about what happens 2 blocks down the street. Okay, because every single person is individually responsible for their own past, present, and future. And so it's like, when you realize that it doesn't, because when you think about it, if any government or any entity really truly wanted to kill you and take you over, you and a bunch of other people would not only rise up, but so would our government, because our government doesn't want to see their country, their population go into complete chaos to where we have no infrastructure. Okay, so the fear of any government coming into my house and doing anything to me needs to be gone. You look at Australia, okay? They've disarmed their citizens because there's so many damn imbalances in Australia. They've had to take away high-powered rifles or anything that would then cause more harm to people who are just trying to live, because there's people who are imbalanced. You can't control the imbalanced people in our society. You can't. Can you even control your own child? Some of you can't even control your own kid. Some of you may need to give your kid up to the state or somebody else to take care of, because you don't have the power to make sure that they're taken care of, and they're sucking the life out of you. And then you're not taking care of yourself in the meantime. I know it sounds horrible, but I think that, it's sink or swim in this world. You can't save everybody. You can't even save your own children. And at some point, you might as well save yourself, because what's the point of 2 people going down instead of 1 person going down? And I know it sucks to watch your children, your friends, and your family go down a very dark road. But sometimes they may need to, fall in the gutter to figure out where they want to be and where they don't want to be. And some people don't survive it, but you wouldn't be able to save them no matter what. The more you try to save someone, the more they're going to resist you. So it's like, I learned a lot from my mother. I come from a bootstrap mentality. I come from where, it's like sink or swim. Nothing's for free in life. This is my mom speaking. Nothing's for free in life. You either make it or you don't. If you have major mental health and health issues, she will then find the right programs to put me in, if I needed to do that, to be taken care of. And then she needs to go, and then she'll take care of herself, because she can't save me. I either have to save myself, or I have to then have a higher authority, like an institution, basically take care of me. Because there's no sense in 2 people going down versus 1 person going down who doesn't have the capacity to be able to adapt to our society. So they need to have a higher authority come in and take care of them. Or they need to go and figure it out for themselves and stop leeching off of other people and justifying why it is that they have to go and impact somebody else's life because of their imbalances. Okay? And so this is what our government has to deal with. And so right now we're seeing it on a grand scale, how everyone's so worried about each other, trying to save each other, but not even worried about their own bodies. Okay? And so that's why then you have nobody taking care of anything, nobody really progressing really rapidly, because everyone's so worried about somebody else. They're not looking within and seeing that there's major imbalances. If you have major imbalances in your body, there's no freaking way that you're able to go and negotiate your right-wing or left-wing mentality and think that's going to make any difference in your community. Oh, hell no, you're just causing more imbalance. Like, that's seriously what goes on in these politics, is that people have absolutely no regard for their internal universe, and then they go try to legislate balance on somebody else, and they're just laughing the hell at you because you're basically exemplifying an imbalance by being so right-wing or being so left-wing, and then worried about everybody else but your own self, and then trying to save your children when you absolutely have no power to really save your child. Your child has to either save themselves or they go into an institution where someone can save them and watch over them 24/7 if they're that much of a danger to themselves or the community. Okay, so, you know, my mom, I swear, you know, I love, and I've always, even my mom and I had issues, I knew she came from major, like she comes from major common sense. She comes from major common sense. And I want her to do the protocol, but maybe that's not in the cards for her. Okay, maybe she was here on this earth to instill that little seed of which then I germinated and sprouted and whatever and created this type of protocol. And yeah, she's a hard ass. My mother doesn't take any shit. My mother is probably the smartest person I will ever know or will ever know. Okay? And she taught me a whole lot. Even through all of our difficulties, she taught me a whole lot. She taught me balance, sort of. She taught me boundaries. You know, I understand psychology because of always being psychologically analyzed by her. The law, she went to law school. And then my dad in biotech, not that he like brought his work home and told us all about it, but being exposed to, you know, all of, you know, my lifestyle in Silicon Valley, in biotech country, you know, that gave me a platform to work from and to also rebel against as well. Okay. So, you know, I really give my mother so much credit because it was sink or swim for me. I didn't really, I mean, I was an activist and she was an activist too. Still probably is an activist in some way. But yes, I was an activist, total left wing, you know, pro-abortion over there, which, you know, I actually have no real feelings about it either way or the other. It's everybody's choice, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But yeah, I was basically, you know, very much the Democrats in California, went to those rallies, met, I forget her name, Barbara Boxer, shook her hand and all that stuff. So I was very heavily into the politics in California. But, you know, and then I went to libertarian and then the independent movement and then got into independent, libertarian, and then conspiracy. And now I'm like, oh my God, all that is BS because nobody is paying attention to their own lack of cross-functional communication within their 11 different systems. They're not negotiating their environment, adapting well at all. And then they're projecting all of their imbalances by justifying it through their either religion by creating divide and conquer, their politics, or their, you know, whatever platform, the conspiracy, flat earth, whatever else, anti-vax, chemtrails, 5G. I mean, that's exactly what's going on is people are projecting all of their imbalances. Oh yeah, and all of the racism as well, all the isms out there, the vegans, the vegetarians, all of that. When you're projecting a very specific platform that doesn't unify people, you're projecting your own lack of control within your universe. And this is why we have so much chaos and so much hatred and so much division. And then you're seeing all the stuff that happens in the media, the Jeffrey Epsteins, that also happen right in your community. You think Jeffrey Epstein, the whole network there is like immune to your community? No, this happens in regular rural America, as well as rural, I don't know, Europe, New Mexico, South America, Canada, Alaska. Anywhere there's a human, you're going to have somebody that has an imbalance. It's going to have a type of predilection that's going to be illegal. It's not just for the people in high levels of government. It happens right here in your own doorstep, and people don't even realize that. And then they keep procreating, reproducing on bodies that are traumatized, creating more victims and more predators. And then we wonder why it is we keep repeating history over and over and over again, because nobody is saying, hey, let's stop the programming of this. Let's stop this cycle of violence. And let's get our internal system well balanced. So the fact that 500 million is what the desire is of the Georgia Guidestones basically speaks to nature will eventually bring everything back into balance. And people think, oh yeah, the pharmaceutical companies are causing this, or part of the Georgia Guides and the New World Order, they put their tenets out there because they want to kill everybody. No, you're killing yourself. You have the choice between when you're born and when you say you're going to die. You have the choice to figure out the formula to life and then speak about it. And if you don't speak about the formula to life, then you're then contributing to what you think is the evils of the New World Order, because you are the New World Order, or what your perception of it. Because really, truly, what our government's trying to do, once we figured out Hitler was really, really bad, is now we're trying to unify all the nations, get everybody on the same page, so we have cross-functional communication geopolitically, as well as within the two parties. So we all come from a common ground, because we know that we're universally the same, with a few different, differences that we can work with, okay? But we have to understand, too, that we have people in our society that are very imbalanced, so extreme, that we need to figure out, is it necessary to have an AK-47 with a high magazine? No, that's not necessary. A handgun, a pistol with 6 bullets is perfectly fine. Revolver for personal protection, not to go and fight against your own government or fight against all of your neighbors. No. When you are like in Branch Davidian or Ruby Ridge, when you're locked up in a little community that has things go on that's not supposed to happen, illegal things, and now you're forcing your government to go and take you down, well, look what you created. Okay? So, I mean, it's like, this is, because I want to see people who are well balanced in my immediate area. I don't see it all the time. I see shades of it. I see enough of it that's okay, that I can work with and assimilate to and adapt to. That's not something I have to leave all the time. But I want to see more of a balance within my community and within all of you on Facebook. And when I see angry faces, when I see somebody like, the future is in our children. No, the future is in every single one of you who is an adult that has the capacity to process information and to then be able to exemplify it in the physical world. Not just theoretically, oh yeah, I love what you say, but you won't exemplify it, but actually do it and be that example. So then you can teach your children how not to live in an imbalanced lifestyle. Or you figure out where you don't have power with your children, and then you finally take care of yourself. And you set boundaries for that child that probably needs boundaries. Because children without boundaries become a major consumer with no regard for anyone but themselves, and then they exemplify more imbalances, and then they're also easily triggered. Children who don't get boundaries are easily triggered. Because as soon as you put a boundary, they fly off the handle. And God forbid anyone be in their immediate vicinity, because they will get it, whoever it is. And then that creates then families that have domestic violence and sexual abuse and anything else that's out there. I mean, we as humans, we as parents with imbalances are creating this crap that we're trying to fight against. So maybe it's time you take care of yourself first and not try to legislate politics onto others. Put boundaries on your children so they know that, you know what, you now have to take care of yourself. You've done everything you could for them. Now it's either up to the state to take care of them, or the kid just says, finally, okay, I give up trying to manipulate you into taking your money and your whatever and your resources. And they actually go and figure it out for themselves. Or they check themselves into any kind of situation where it'll help them out if they can't make it in our society. So I am so happy that my mother is who she was. She didn't drug me up the yin yang like some parents do. They'll go and drug their children because they don't know how to control them and there's imbalances. My mother didn't believe in that. And I was a little out of whack when I was a kid because I came from Vietnam with imbalances and parasites that were out of control, viruses and all that stuff. So I had behavioral issues. And they try to put me on Ritalin and all that stuff, try to categorize me as ADD, but she never allowed them to do that. She didn't want me drugged up. And she came from biotech. She believes in all that biotech stuff, of course. Better life through chemistry. That's what her mantra. Before I didn't understand that, but now I get it. Because chemistry is everything. But it's the type of chemistry is really what's key. And so now we're differentiating between the death trajectory chemistry and then the life trajectory chemistry. And so when you play with all of your divide and conquer, you're playing with the death trajectory chemistry. When you're all worried about your race and your people and how you've been maligned and oppressed and all that stuff, you're cycling from the PTSD trauma that was taught to you by your parents, as well as the schools and your community. And it brought up specific hormones that are now so easily accessible that that's your reality, is those hormones based upon the traumas that you've experienced your whole life. And every single one of you that hasn't gotten your body well balanced, every single trauma you've ever experienced, whether it's racism or any ism, that is going to be a direct, easy access for you to go to, and you'll be easily triggered, and then you're going to be on that life of imbalance, on that death trajectory, living in your crazy politics that will then contribute to the death and destruction of your immediate area, as well as your family and your friends. And I know it sounds like rather far-fetched, like, oh, my belief system isn't destroying. Yeah, it is, because you're not unifying anybody. You're creating more division. All of these people that are so worried about their little political platforms, regardless of what it is, I don't care what it is, you're creating more division. You're not looking for the similarities. You're not looking for the core of who humans are. You're looking to blame. You're looking to get reparations for what? I don't know. You're not looking for the future. You're still living in the past, because guess what? All that trauma, that hormones are sitting right there at the surface. You just can't wait to tap into it because it gives you a pleasure. Okay? And so anyone that's ever been abused by somebody in the past wants to bring them to justice. Well, there really is no healing in bringing someone to justice, because it doesn't help you. It may give you a little satisfaction that, okay, they're going to get theirs, but in reality, you still have to live with you and that trauma. What are you going to do about that trauma that you experienced? Because that person is going to have to deal with themselves in their jail cell or wherever they're at. And you know, Mother Earth and nature and the universe will take care of anyone that's harmed anybody, really. Okay? But every individual person has the potential to heal themselves, harnessing the right elements, and then suppressing those PTSD hormones that are so there on the surface. Because when you bring up those type of hormones on the surface on a continuous basis, it wears your body out. Your activism, your, oh, I'm a Republican, oh, I'm a Democrat, oh, I'm a this. That is your hormones sitting there right on the surface. Oh, I'm a vegan, or I'm a this, or I'm a that. Those PTSD hormones are sitting right there at the surface, cannot wait to be tapped into, to then give your body some kind of perverse pleasure. And we're not trying to go there. And so this is why we're trying to get Putin on board, trying to figure out Putin, because he's kind of a wild card. That was the word that I was looking for earlier. He's a wild card. So is Kim Jong-il in North Korea. So is some of the people in Saudi Arabia. So is a lot of different, you know, leaders of their countries and nations. So we're trying to get people on board to this new world order. And I'm not going to be like, I'm not saying I'm a Freemason. No, I'm not a Freemason. I don't believe in secret societies. I don't believe that we should have like a club. Okay? The ability to tap into the right elements to give you indefinite life should be open for everybody, not just a certain few. But you will take yourself out and put yourself into the club of your choice. Okay? But the J juice is for everybody. It's renewable resources. It's endless resources when you think about it. You know how much salt there is in the ocean? You know all the geophysics and all that stuff? Mountains get created and there's salt in the mountains, and then people go and mine the salt, and there's just different fluctuations of the earth and of the universe that will always have salt. We'll always have cabbage as long as we have photosynthesis. We'll always have the lactobacillus because it's a chemical process. So you'll never be running out of that. So everybody has access to this. Nothing is kept behind a paywall. Okay? I have a book just to kind of give you my ideas, my thought process, because my ideas and thought process is like a huge battering ram against the brainwashing and people's preconceived notions of what they think reality is. That's what my book is just a mass amount of info to hopefully penetrate narrow points of view that are out there. That's all my book is. It's not, I'm not trying to sell anything. There's nothing to sell. It's all for free. The recipe is on my freaking featured photos in Facebook. People have groups that have my recipe. People have their own groups with my information. I have a secret public Facebook group that I know trolls are in there sharing the videos. I don't care. Even when I had my own little world of my website that had like message boards and all that stuff, trolls were in there screenshotting stuff. So there's nothing private and nothing like secret, nothing exclusive about J-Juice, but the understanding of J-Juice is exclusive because it's based upon your ability to process information. And if you don't have the ability to process information, then yeah, you're subject to the allopathic holistic ways. Then you'll be subject to the imbalances. And then what's going to happen is as the universe ramps up with the evolution that goes on, the more viruses, the more people that are mutating viruses, then weak bodies are going to succumb to their environment. They won't be able to adapt. The lack of upgrading physical bodies won't be able to adapt to all the different programming that's out there. And then you'll be left behind. Okay? That's the only thing that takes people out of the running with J-Juice, is the fact that they don't have the mental capacity to process information, or have the willpower, or have the strength to withstand the healing process. Okay? And it's going to happen. I mean, people will live their life the way they expect. They're going to die maybe 20 years, and that's fine for them. Others will figure out how to harness the elements, understand the pain and healing process. We'll use the different cures on the market, because NyQuil's a cure, turmeric's a cure, cannabis is a cure, chemotherapy is a cure. There's so many cures on the market to help you manage the healing process, the pain process, as you're bringing in the J-Juice, the cabbage and the kale that's been fermented, that has tremendous amount of data to then change the programming in your body. Because what happens is, what these cures do out there, the chemotherapy and the cannabis, they just stop the cancer programming temporarily. But you haven't gotten to the root cause. And so what happens is in other cancer virus programs on weak bodies, because the body is still weak, even when you bring in all the different cures and you try to change your diet superficially, you still have weaknesses. Every single issue you've ever dealt with since you were born, since you were born, is a chance for a virus to exploit every weakness you have. So if you don't strengthen your weaknesses and you keep trying to anesthetize yourself, and then you'll be subject to a cancer programming. You'll beat it, maybe, if you have a strong body, with chemotherapy or cannabis or some kind of detox from Mexico. People go there. And then you'll think, oh yeah, I beat cancer. Nope, nope, nope. You just stopped the programming, but you still have weaknesses, which means that another exploitative virus can come in and take over at some point. Yeah, very right, Kevin. Very right. It all comes down to how badly do you want your health back? Because the recipe for health is here. And, health is such a general term. Indefinite life, which then will encapsulate cancer, disease, and chronic illness / aging. Cancer is aging. Okay? You see people go through the chemotherapy. They've aged like 10 years when they go through chemotherapy. Anyone that does extreme amounts of exercise has aged themselves. Oh yeah. I mean, I was looking at this. Oh my God, I'm not gonna say, I really wanted to share this person's profile, but I'm not going to, because I don't want to exploit anybody's weaknesses, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But I really wanted to share their profile. But this guy who is a major vegan, major vegan, he's in one of these groups that I'm in. Very, very, very skinny, very skinny. His hair is like all wild, and his face is all gaunt. And he's like, I'm just eating just raw, as part of one of my raw groups. And he's saying how healthy he is. And I'm looking, he's like, he has hardly any fat on his body, on his face. He is so skinny that I can only imagine he gets exposed to some kind of cancer virus. He would be taken down just like that. And then if he goes and applies, and he also works out. This kid also works out. So you're starving your body of the proper macro and micronutrition, and you're working out on a continuous basis, eating only vegan, raw vegan and vegetarian, and working out. You're putting miles on your body, and you are accelerating the death process. And I really wanted to say something in that, but I'm not going to, because it's a total different. It's back when I was thinking that being raw vegan and vegetarian was the way to be, and I was trying to do that. And so I bought a what do you call those, where you take the water out? D something. But I sold it because I was going to go and take my fruits or my vegetables and put it and dry it out and then eat it. And that was, but I gave it away to somebody. Actually, I didn't even sell it. I gave it away to someone that likes the meat and likes to make beef jerky, or they like to make, stuff for their dogs. But I'm telling you guys, these extreme thought processes, I don't even know why I got onto that tangent, but I got on there. But yeah, about health, okay? Health is relative to your intention, the outcome. What is your expected outcome? If you believe in death, then it doesn't matter what you do. If you have a belief that people should die, I don't care. It won't matter if you switch to keto, vegan, meat, carnivore, paleo, hell, I don't know, whatever thought process, it won't matter. And the way that our society is, your belief system people should die is only going to accelerate your aging process, because you haven't upgraded your body to the point to where you can handle the new data, the new culture, the new anything. And so, with J Juice, is not only are you upgrading your device, but now you're able to take on the new programming that's out there. I'm able to now, if I really wanted to, I could have done I didn't have to pay like $80 to a friend to help me take care of my computer, but I wanted to because I didn't want to deal with it. But if I really truly could, I could have gone through and looked up the YouTube, got all the command prompts, put them in the DOS portion of it, and then hit whatever I got to hit, and then it would take it. But I really did not want to put my energy there. Okay? I really still wanted to think about how I was going to simplify my speech. I didn't want to learn how to upgrade my system, Windows 10 from 18 to 19, because right now this is when you have to upgrade your Windows 10, and it's a pain in the freaking ass. It was. I kept trying to download, and it would never install. Download, I'm like, oh my god. Then I'll look on YouTube, I'll look online. They're like, okay, maybe you have to go and do the Windows update troubleshooter, and then you got to do this. And I just upgrading my antivirus software. It was just like, oh my god. So I said, you know what? I know where I'm bested, and not that I couldn't do it and figure it out, but I didn't really want to take the time to do it. But I know certain things to keep my stuff going, and I have a go-to. So this is where community is important, is that if you don't want to know everything, then you tap the people that know stuff. So this guy knew stuff. He took care of it. He's helping my husband with his little tower, his Windows 7. And Windows 7 is really not going to be supported anymore until January 20th. So, eventually that'll get upgraded, and he'll take care of that for my husband. And that's fine. I'm willing to procure people who have an authority on something, and they have a proven track record. Okay? So, but that's the thing, is that if we put our minds to something, and if we choose to zero in on something, we can do it, but we have to have a device our bodies are able to handle and be able to process that information. So if you're keeping old programming like shit in your body, that's old programming. Excess viruses, excess virus programming, excess parasite programming, excess candida programming. You're keeping all old programs in your body. It's bottlenecking anything, and so you can't take on new information and process things as quickly as you need to or want to. And that's no different. So upgrading to Windows 10 is no different than using J Juice to upgrade your body to Windows 10. Okay? So it's like, you have to understand that the Jilly Juice is the new upgrade to your device, or it's new upgrade to your device so you can take on new programs. Because, you know, the Windows 10 is an operating system, it's a platform. And then you're able to take on applications to then be able to do what you do, go to your bank or send money or send emails. But if you have a crappy platform, then you can't, I couldn't even get onto some of my Word documents because I had my Windows 10 all cattywampus, and I'm trying to get into my cloud Word document and it was having issues. Okay. Yes, Lynn, thank you. And so I'm like, oh God, I have to get my device all done up before I then go to my Word document to then update this. Because I was trying to write this with my Windows 10 saying, hey, you need to update, you need, because I've been letting it go and haven't been reading the news lately. So they say you better upgrade to, you know, your Windows 10 to 1903 in August because there's some crap going on. And it took forever and I couldn't see anything that would help me. So oh, thanks, Lynn. But yeah, so you got to upgrade your device to be able to handle the new programming of the New World Order, because that's what it's coming down to. Because we need to have cross-functional communication between all nations, all people, all cultures, all belief systems, all religions, as well as in our body. But there's no way we can negotiate world peace if we can't even negotiate how to live indefinitely in our own immediate environment, to live peacefully in our own house, to where you're not causing somebody else's imbalances and parasitic qualities. When you actually know how to set your own boundaries in your own house with your own family, then you can negotiate the peace accord, okay? Then you can negotiate the environment. Then you can negotiate all the crap that's out there in geopolitics. But until you can prove that you can actually negotiate your environment where you set boundaries and you're living a well-balanced lifestyle where you don't have major crazy things going on, there's no freaking way you're going to be effective in any of your activism. There's no way. If anything, it's just projecting what all the crazy imbalances in your body. And so I know eventually with my healing process, I was going to end up in now the macro, the geopolitics. Actually, I didn't know it, but it's how it ended up, and it makes sense. It's where I was headed to. Because at first, 3 years ago, we started off with the yeast cell, candida. Okay, yeast, candida, what feeds it and what causes candida. And then we started expanding and ballooning and then understanding why we have pain, why we have mucus, what is a parasite, what does it do, what do the cells do, what does this mean, what does that mean? And then finally we're able to see, you know, what religion is, what spirituality is, what the body, mind, and spirit is, what turmeric is. Then we figured out all the elements. We figured out the periodic tables. We broke everything down to periodic tables. Everything is chemistry and how it interacts with each other. Then we broke down the human body chemistry, the biochemistry, and how it interacts and what kind of balance. No, I don't have any spiritual views. Actually, if you go to my YouTube, Lynn Chester, it'll give you a lot of my spiritual views. Okay, so just go to jillyjuice.com. It'll give you my YouTube channel, JILLYJUICE.com. Okay. And then my next book, you'll see spiritual views, because that's what Kevin and I are collaborating with. And Kevin is a spiritual healer too, and he's integrating J-Juice and then understanding it's about biochemistry. Okay, so let's bring it back to biochemistry, Lynn. Biochemistry is basically your hormones, how they manifest. And if they're imbalanced, then your spirituality is going to be imbalanced. If you have a well-balanced biochemistry, then your spirituality, how it is you project your persona, is going to be either imbalanced or balanced. That is what spirituality is. It's how your hormones manifest. Because everything is based upon chemistry and biochemistry, and then how you reconcile with the environment. That's really what spirituality is. And so every single culture out there has a name for life. God, Allah, Buddha, oh, I don't know, Yah, God, okay? So life has so many different names, and that's based upon Jesus, okay? Life equals Jesus, Mary, I guess, any kind of icon that's out there in any religion, life equals that. And so every religion has their context, their story about life, and their story about the geophysical manifestations of the fluctuations of the universe hitting the earth, and what the sun, how it interacts with all of the environment and with the earth and with the universe. And so everybody has a story around why things do what they do. The Indians also have stories about, and then people have stories around how their hormones manifest. When people say ayahuasca, they think that they've reached a different plane, a different spiritual. No, you just took drugs and you messed with your hormones. Maybe it made you more calm, maybe it made you have more clarity, but it's not like, I mean, it's not like you're enlightened. I mean, it's just like you took some drugs, no different than smoking some pot. When you manipulate your hormones, it's going to have it's going to alter your reality. So when you have an imbalance in your body spinning and looping on the same stuff, that is your reality. And that's why you have so many different professions out there where people are good at their job, because they have reinforced their reality, and their hormones are able to reinforce their profession and their expertise to then be able to give them a living so they can live on this earth and feed their children and their family. Okay? So, when you get your body well balanced, you'll be able to see how all the manipulations work and how they happen. You'll be able to whatever you put your mind to, you'll be able to do. You're not going to have a judgment call on what a job or what this is or what that is or anybody. You won't be stuck in your religion, your separation. You'll see that everybody is no different. The only thing that's different is the fact that some people come from a culture that happens to have more sun, so then causes a mutation. Okay? And then the mutation creates more melanin. Okay? And so, that's the only difference, is the fact that some of us have cultures that happen to have more sun than others, that then caused a very good evolutionary mutation. That's the only difference. Okay? I mean, that's it. So it's like, that's what a well-balanced biochemistry exhibits. So it's no wonder I got into geopolitics, because everything is related. Everything is connected. What happens in your corporation, in your office, is no different than what happens over there in the White House. They have the same office politics in your corporation, in your immediate office area. No different than what happens up there in Capitol Hill. Politics are politics. It's just how your hormones manifest. And then you're bringing in different hormones with different expertises, and then trying to do whatever. Lynn, you can listen to whenever you want, okay? All of my videos are here for everybody to listen to at whatever time. I will then translate it to YouTube, okay? So please just listen, and then if you happen to listen later, that's fine. No big deal, okay? You have access to this information at any given moment in time. You don't have to listen to it right now. Okay, I don't mean to be impatient, but it's like the way YouTube and the way Facebook is you always have the ability to go back to my videos if you bookmark them, or if you do whatever you got to do to save them. Okay? All right. So yeah, so politics does not discriminate. It happens in the immediate environment, and it happens out there, wherever it is. Everything is connected, guys. So right, Christina, I mean, here's the thing. I know you want to bring in your scriptures and everything. And really, when you think about it, we have so many different thought processes out there. And what I have noticed is that some people get turned off by people quoting scripture. So I try to keep everything as benign as possible, where you're not separating with specific doctrines that explain the same thing in a different way. Okay, because like, if you had not put scripture, but you said indefinite life with humans, plants, and animals living symbiotically together, God or life's original purpose, now you're bringing and unifying. You're not separating through different words. Because when you say Allah, when you say God, when you say anything from Hindu, okay, well, you're on my wall right now. When you use words that have a specific characteristic to a specific religion, it does cause division. When you call yourself I would say Christian, Catholic, Jehovah, Muslim, whatever. It's a separation. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you just have to understand how it lands. It's going to be an immediate turnoff to those that already have an already always listening conversation in the background about religion and the Bible. And so a way to reach people is not to automatically trigger them into then not listening to you. But if you understand that we all come from the same thing about indefinite life, we have the ability to regenerate cells, and I want you to live, and you don't have any other agenda except to say, hey, you and I are human. There's no separation and no clue of a separation, then that would be far more effective. But what people do is they shoot themselves in the foot and they automatically put out their category. Oh yeah, I'm, a Christian American. Why would you even say Christian? I'm an American. When you say, oh, I am an Asian American. Why even say Asian? I'm an American. I love life. Life is a word that everybody knows, but there's other words that will explain life that will then clue somebody in on their belief system, which then could be a turnoff. So I tried it. So that's why I get triggered by a lot of the really, 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 really like born again Christians, because they cannot help but speak in scripture. And I'm like, that's a separation. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. And so I get kind of annoyed sometimes. And not that I want to cause anybody harm, but I want people to learn how to speak in a unifying way. You are my fellow human earthling with no separation. There are enough resources, but we have to learn how to manage those resources. If we don't know how to manage those resources, then we have to have a separation. We have to have boundaries. We have to have borders, because we don't know how to manage our own resources. So how are we going to take on somebody else's resources? You know what I mean? So that's probably why, where Trump's coming from is the fact that he's totally in battle with himself internally. Okay. And then he's also battling, with Congress. So we can't even manage our own resources on, in America. There's no way we can take on somebody else's resources. Mexico has a resource full of people, and they can't even manage their own resources over there. And so people want to come to an area where it's relatively managed well. And there's nothing wrong with that. But right now, humanity's in an influx. And so we're coming to terms with how imbalanced we are. And so now we almost have to do a reset, which is happening. There is a reset happening right now. And probably why the Jilly Juice came about is because now we have a choice. But we have to understand what creates all the differences and the division. And then now, how do we come from a point of unification? And hugs to you, Christina. I completely adore you and your whole effort through this process, because you are one of the ones that are really exemplifying the J Juice persona. So, I mean, and I don't discount, your belief system as far as your religion, because it's no different than mine. I just want us to be able to speak in a way where it won't turn off somebody, but we know that we're on the same page. That's all. So I'm tweaking how you present it so you're not coming off from already an exclusivity. Okay, so it is accessible to everybody, and there's no artificial walls being put up right off the bat. So that's why I say speak plain, you guys. Don't speak from your jargon. Speak plain if you can, because everybody deserves this, and everybody needs to understand that for us to have a well-balanced community, a well-balanced government, you need well-balanced people. If you want a well-balanced world, it starts with every single one of you, and it starts with putting your boundaries on your children. My parents weren't perfect, but they put boundaries down. I'm not perfect. I put my boundaries down when I know I'm being usurped in some way, indirectly and directly. And so, and there's Sugar. You see Sugar. I finally cleaned up this office because my husband, he put some chairs down here, and so I just had them all cattywampus and just, I have the power to ignore. I have a very huge power of ignoring things. So I can have chairs be all whatever, and I would still be very focused on only my videos, my desk that was really all crazy. I'll have files that need to be filed, papers need to be filed, like, and I finally took care of all my filing. I organized my office for the most part, got rid of any excess stuff that I didn't need. And maybe one day I'll surprise my husband and paint that bedroom that I want to be my office, because eventually he wants to be down here with his CB radio stuff. And then my dog decided just to come down here and stay down here. So she likes the energy down here, because when we left to go take my husband to work, she just stayed down here. She didn't go upstairs and sit on her bed. She just came down here and said, hey, I'm going to chill out. So there she is. Say hi, sugar. And she was nuzzling me with her nose in my hair early this morning, either trying to keep warm, or she was like, hey, I love you. Because I got her nails done yesterday. So, and she was relatively good. So, you know, so I'm learning balance, and it's happening. And well, what I can see looks good. I know. Well, yeah, nothing. See, a little bit here, a little bit there, nothing crazy. See, there's a chair here, a chair there, nothing crazy. And, you know, this is going to be my husband's office. And I want to be upstairs where it's warmer, where it's going to be warmer. Okay. But yeah, we need indefinite life on this planet comes from cross-functional communication with all people, systems, countries, religions, belief systems with a common purpose. Indefinite life with humans, plants, and animals living symbiotically together. We're not pronouncing our differences. We are finding that common ground. And that's what I wanted, even with families, with my in-laws. I wanted them to see that I was just like them. Okay? They couldn't see it, and I'm sure I was very imbalanced too. That I wasn't projecting stuff. So whatever I was receiving, I was projecting, then we were just feeding off each other. So maybe one day, you know, hopefully that, you know, my in-laws and myself, or we just stay where we stay, you know. But that's always been my dream, is to create a unification between families and in-laws where people aren't causing division. But then you can't control your family or your kids. So then you have to figure out ways to then protect yourself, and then find the people that are on the same wavelength, that want to unify, that want to work towards a common purpose of balance and informing and helping and assisting each other in times of need. But we don't want to have so much need where then you're being, you know, your life being sucked out from under you, you know, the consideration, all of that, the accountability. And that's what I want, you know, and that's what my mother taught me, that, you know, accountability in a lot of ways, and consideration. Maybe she was a little extreme in some areas, but that's okay, because it made me more aware, hyper aware on how considerate I need to be, tiptoeing, turn the handle when you close the door type of thing. Okay. So those things do translate. And so that's how we're going to have world peace, is if we have peace within our internal systems. And those of you that are plain activists in politics, you're just causing more of the division. So you're not going to see anything. You're not going to see anything really for you or for your family, really, truly. Superficially, yeah, you'll still have food on your table. But you're spinning your wheels if you think that you're going to do anything really for humanity, really. And those that say, oh yeah, all of the future's in our children. No, the children are just an extension of your past. That's all children are. They're not the future. Children are not the future, just so you know. The children are an extension of your past. You guys that can process my information and actually exemplify it, you are the future. The children are not. Do not put your future in your children, because they will exemplify who you couldn't be or are today. And if you're not happy with the geopolitics, then you're creating more of the reason why you're fighting to begin with. Okay? So anyways, that's my well-balanced perspective for all of you to chew on and come to terms with. And you might hate me for it, because yeah, I'm calling you out. Those of you that say, oh yeah, I'm a well-balanced, I believe in health, and I want to save the world. Save yourself, honey. Put boundaries, save yourself. Ain't no one going to do it for you. especially not your child. All right, you guys have a great day. I'm gonna work on my speech thing, and maybe I don't know, talk about it. Who knows? I'll see what I feel like doing. Yeah. So you guys just enjoy your day. Do the Jilly Juice, and come to terms with the fact that healing is going to take time. It's not going to be something that's going to happen overnight. And if you think Jilly Juice is a remedy, then you don't even do Jilly Juice at all. If you think you're going to take Jilly Juice for your issue and it's going to basically heal it just like that, honey, you got 11 different systems with so many issues. There's no way I'm going to tell you and let you know that your issue is going to be resolved in the time frame you have an expectation is going to be. If you're looking for a cure, go to Big Pharma. They got 1 million cures on the market. And you're right, Bridget. We are the future. Talk to you guys later.